Hello grade 6 students. In this video we are going to see how we use angular bisector in geometry exercises. Let's consider exercise 8, page 62 in your book. Draw two adjacent and complementary angles XOY and YOZ such that XOY equal 48 degrees. Before we start drawing these two angles, we have to take into consideration the three conditions of adjacent angles. We should determine the common vertex, we should determine the common arm, and we should make sure that the two angles are situated on opposite side of the common arm. In addition to that, the sum of the two angles should be 90 because they are asking us to draw complementary angles. We use the protractor to draw the first angle XOY, which is 48 degrees. We should make sure that OY should be in the middle because if we notice that OY is found in the name of the two angles, so we know that it's the common arm. That's why it should be in the middle. So this is going to be OY, XOY. In order to draw the second arm, we have to put our protractor on the vertex. The center of the protractor should be on the vertex. The line of the first line of the protractor should be an OX. We measure 90 degrees in order to get OZ. So these two angles, XOY and YOZ, are complementary angles because they measure 90 degrees together, which is the angle XOZ. Part B, find the measure of angle YOZ. We have to find the measure of this angle. Since ZOY and YOX are complementary angles, it means that their mother angle ZOX measures 90 degrees. So this whole angle is 90 degrees. In order to get this angle, the measure of this angle ZOY, we should subtract XOY, which is 48 degrees, from the mother angle, which is XOZ. So we're going to get the following. YOZ is equal to XOZ minus YOX, which is 90 degrees minus 48 degrees equal 42 degrees. Draw the bisector OT of angle XOY and the bisector OU of angle YOZ. We have to use the compass in order to draw the bisector OT of the angle XOY. So this semi-straight line is the bisector of angle XOY. So it divides it into two equal angles, which are XOT and TOY. Each angle should measure 24 degrees because when OT divides the angle XOY, which is 48 degrees, we're gonna get 24 degrees for the angle XOT and 24 degrees for the angle TOY. These two angles are equal because OT bisects the angle XOY. Now we're going to draw, using the same way, the bisector OU of angle YOZ. So the red semi-straight line OU is the bisector of ZOY, which means that it cuts it into two equal angles. So 42 divided by 2 is 21. And we're going to get the same measure for YOU. So these two angles should be equal. So we use codes and the measures on the figure in order to make it easy for us to answer the remaining parts of the question. Find the measure of TOY, TOU. So we are going to find the measure of this angle. What we did before is that we use the codes and measures and figure when we draw the bisector, because we have to analyze what we have in the figure to make it easy for us to answer this question. So now it's very easy and quick to get the measure of the angle TOU. TOU is the sum of the two angles TOY and YOU. So TOU is TOY plus YOU. TOY is half the angle XOY because RT is the bisector of angle XOY. So we have to prove it geometrically. XOY over 2 and YOU is half the angle ZOY because the bisector RU divides the angle ZOY into half. XOY measures 48 degrees and ZOY measures 42 degrees. 48 over 2 is 24 and 42 over 2 is 21. As a sum, we're gonna get 45 degrees. So the measure of TOU is 45 degrees. And what helped us to get the measure of the angle is that OT is the bisector of angle XOY and OU is the bisector of angle ZOY.